Welcome to an enlightened hour of interactive talk. This is Guided Spirit Conversations with host Marla Goldberg. In this program, we spotlight guests from all over the globe who have helped others change their lives and will provide you with the tips, tools, and techniques that you need to help you make a difference in your own life. Now, here is Marla Goldberg.
Hello, everyone. How are you doing? Happy Thursday. And this is the first Thursday of fall. So fall is upon us and it's my favorite time of year. So I hope you're all watching the leaves change and enjoying it. And I'm so thrilled to invite you to meet my guest today. So we have back Dr. Suzan Rossi. So Dr. Suzan is a chiropractor and has been for the last 39 years. She's an ordained minister, practitioner of master teacher of various Mayan shamanic healing arts. Additionally, she is the founder of the Quickening, ACE, a new paradigm healing system that facilitates our awakening, inner transformation, and personal evolution. And we also have Dr. Nathan Gerowitz. And Dr. Nate, is a Chicago area chiropractor and has served on several service trips around the world and founded a clean water non-for-profit. In addition, he serves families through gentle chiropractic care and is a worldwide trainer of other chiropractors through MLS seminars. Dr. Nathan heeds a deep calling to heal, to help people unconditionally love themselves through the Mayan shamanic healing, the Quickening accelerated conscious evolution, and facilitating healing in his practice. Welcome, Dr. Suzan and Dr. Nate.
Hi there.
Hello. How are you doing? Okay, my idea to do this did not work well, so I apologize to everybody. How are you doing today?
Doing really good.
I'm doing excellent too. Sorry.
Good. I am too. And so I want to start this by asking, you're both chiropractors, and yet you're both in the healing arts. Is this a normal direction for most chiropractors to go in?
That's an interesting question. I think that it makes it easier for us to be a chiropractor in the first place. We're kind of rebels. I mean, we're not on the fringe anymore, but we're not mainstream. But we're working on it.
But you're more mainstream than, let's say, naturopath, the way a naturopath used to be, because it used to be chiropractor or naturopath when I was back in the 80s.
Well, I think part of it is that I love the question, and I get that exact question all the time in my office, because people will ask me, is this some new chiropractic? Is this something advanced? And the answer is yes. And it's actually the oldest form of chiropractic. The original stated intention of our profession was to help reconnect man the physical with man the spiritual. And the reason that we're now these days known as neck and back doctors is that the spine is the amazing conduit built in for healing, for awakening, and for evolution. And we're happy to get into more details on that. And so I found that the chiropractic we do and the other healing arts that we do really blend together very nicely.
So this just came to me. So if somebody has a neck and back injury, how does that stop their energetic flow or detour it?
I just opened the door.
Suzan, I'll defer to you first.
Our spine, naturally, just on a physical level, is the control center to everything. And I like to tease and say the guillotine proved that a long time ago. Off with your head, nothing works. It's the fastest way to die. So the nervous system is absolutely the control center of the body. So on a physical level, any pressure on any nerve exiting or inside the cord has a corresponding effect in the body. It takes the weight of a dime on a nerve root exiting the spine to change the current and the flow of information from the brain to whatever tissue is going to. So there is a minor paralysis to a major paralysis to total paralysis happening on wherever that nerve's going to. So it's skin, the breast, the womb. So that's why chiropractic is so important physically, just in general, in the Muggle world, that when we adjust somebody chiropractically, it improves the communication from the brain to the body. And that's it doesn't matter if you're sick with COVID, it doesn't matter if you're trying to get pregnant, it doesn't matter if you're depressed. It makes an overall well-being improvement on the body.
Nice. Okay.
So on a spiritual level, when we go back to the yoga practices and the meditation practices and even the soft parts of the martial arts, the energy at the tip of the spine, at the end of the spine, at the coccyx, there is a thing called Shakti. And that is the feminine aspect of the divine that sits dormant in the tip of your spine. When we start waking up, and we're going to talk about that, the Shakti activates and starts to rise. And there's many of your viewers that have heard of Kundalini. When Kundalini starts to rise and there is a vertebra within the body that's misaligned, it affects that rising and you have pain there and it forces you to go to the chiropractor. When there's an adjustment or a realignment, however chiropractors want to call it now, that allows the Kundalini to rise again. So each vertebra, there is a potential for interference for enlightenment. So literally, I have adjusted someone and have them spontaneously all of a sudden see spirit, spontaneously have a connection to higher self, spontaneously be psychic just because of an adjustment. It stopped the interference with Kundalini rising to do its alchemy in the pineal and the pituitary and the carotid gland.
Interesting. So let me ask you this question. When somebody injures their coccyx bones, which many people do with skiing, skating, you're growing up, you're doing all these sports.
There are folks that have even had it amputated.
Their coccyx?
Yes.
Oh, I was not aware of that.
Yeah.
But,
okay. Yes.
So how does that affect the whole spiritual or Kundalini rising?
It doesn't get any easier.
There's two things that happen. Accidents are not an accident. It may be the soul forcing the human to pay attention to a critical part of their body so that they will do things to facilitate their awakening.
Because even these alignments that we're referencing, they're not an accident either. Our body is a complex energetic and electrical system that if there's too much input, there's too much going on in the world, there's too much stress or trauma in my life, my body will go, okay, this is a bit too much. Let's misalign, or the term we use in chiropractic is let's subluxate, use my spine like a big fuse box so that way it doesn't fry the circuits, it doesn't fry the system, and I can at least survive until I can get out of whatever the dangerous situation I'm in, and then my body will realign itself. The problem is, from a very young age, we're basically taught to not move, not breathe properly, and not to really express ourselves. If you were to ever watch an animal in the wild, if they went through some intense situation, after they got out of it, they would get on the ground and they would writhe and move and unwind all of that tension and misalignment. The problem is, from basically the age of 5 onward, we're taught to sit down, shut up, and don't ever move again. And a lot of times, these misalignments, these subluxations, are caused from the birth process. There was a study done recently that 98% of babies born have a misalignment of either their bones of their cranium, their upper neck, or their tailbone.
Wow.
That's why it's so important, not only for the pregnant woman to be adjusted, but for newborns to be adjusted as soon as possible. And I have personally been at least 30 births where I've adjusted, the umbilicus is still attached to make a difference, to prevent what he's talking about. The other part that's really important is the word subluxation is Latin for, I was originally taught that sub means less than. Luxation is a term for dislocation in the spine. So if you're dislocated, you've pretty much severed the cord. So this is less than a dislocation. So it's a subluxation. But the other, when I look at the Latin again, sub means less than, like submarine, being under the water. Lux, Lux, is light, and tion means condition of. So what the word subluxation literally means is the condition of being less than light. So what chiropractors literally, figuratively do is make a correction to allow the light to stop being less than. So it activates the light inside the body just from an adjustment.
The best way I love to phrase it is, everything we do, we live our lives, we create our lives, we manifest our reality and experience the joys of being human through our nervous system. The more clear it becomes, the more clear our expression becomes.
I love that. I think that's so helpful. If people hear that phrase and hear that way of putting it, it just opens up a new window of information, of enlightenment, without even having an adjustment.
Right? It's one of the reasons why we're a little bit on the radical side, why we're so passionate about chiropractic and about awakening, and chiropractic being a tool that has been brought back to the planet so that we can facilitate our awakening and the enlightenment process to make it easier for us.
So let's talk about the awakening. Would you call the awakening the spiritual birth?
Oh my goodness. Yes. I like to compare it to the actual physical birth. When we're spirit being born into physical, that trauma that Nate already touched on is so traumatic that some babies don't survive, or there's such damage done to them from the moment at birth that there's so much care that needs to happen, and there's so much awakening, there's so much immaturity to their field. There's a lot going on that you have to learn and process and be and protect it. When we're doing the awakening on a spiritual level, the rebirth can be just as traumatic. So it's very important to understand what the symptoms are, that we're not crazy, that we're not sick, that this is a normal process, and that there are folks and modalities, spiritual modalities to facilitate the awakening. It's still traumatic.
Can we talk about some of the symptoms?
To make that as easy as possible. Excuse me.
I'm sorry. Can we talk about some of the symptoms that people might be experiencing that where it's like, ding, 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 you might need some help. So
Nate, should I go on?
Go for it.
Migraines, tingling, blurring of the eyes, ear ringing, breaking your teeth, sinus infections, anything that's a COVID symptom, high fever, spontaneous fever, nightmares, sore throat, stiffness anywhere in the body, tingling down the arms, into the hands, into your feet, pain. Remember what I said about the subluxation. Any pain along the spine is a symptom. Having dysphagia, where you have trouble talking and you can't remember your words, and being spontaneously, you want to eat something, you go to the refrigerator, I don't want to eat something, or gorging. Does any of this sound familiar? Having, I gotta have chocolate now.
so these are all the symptoms. So let's talk about.
Well, wait a minute.
Nausea,
nausea, dizziness, diarrhea, constipation.
You need to know it's an hour show.
And one thing it's real easy when you hear this list, because
right.
There's more. We could go on. However, we got miles to go before we sleep. What's important to know is that it doesn't mean your body's failing you or betraying you. Our body is the sacred animal that showed up to house us to do this evolutionary awakening dance. And because we came here to have a physical experience, we experience some of these symptoms, often very physically.
Yeah, we do.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm sitting there, you're checking, you're doing, going, check. Okay, I guess I need some adjustment. So.
We know people who know people. We got you.
Good. I'm really happy to hear that. So being reborn is similar to newborn, right? So that's what you were saying. So what do we do if we're going through these symptoms? how do we handle it? What do we want to, who do we want to go to? Who do we want to help us take care of these symptoms?
First of all, Nate, pick up that bottle of yours, that big bottle. The very first thing is water. Water, 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 water. I got my finger out. Water, 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 water. It doesn't matter if you're drinking it, taking a bath, taking a shower, being by a waterfall, by the ocean, being in the rain, having a water fountain. Water, which is the most basic thing we have on this planet, will help us facilitate enlightenment. The second thing is sunshine. You've got to get in the sun. That is, I've got shimmers, champagne shimmers all over my body because they're yelling at me, I need to get in the sun. Stretch, any touch. That's why it's so interesting that we're not allowed to touch right now. Being touched, being hugged, making love, holding, caressing will facilitate and ease enlightenment symptoms. Basic stuff.
And it's that's all a lot of the physical stuff. Emotionally, mentally, we're at a point right now where humanity as a whole, and each of us as we're awakening, we cannot sustain prolonged periods of anger, resentment, betrayal. Our physical animal suffers, our body suffers, and mentally and emotionally, it locks our evolution in place. It slows the awakening down. One of my absolute favorite resources on this is the work of Brene Brown in terms of helping people cultivate more empathy for others and especially themselves. So the more you can hold things lightly and have as much trust in yourself and as much love for yourself as possible, the easier it all becomes.
And that takes me to Don Miguel Ruiz Sr.'s The Four Agreements.
You mean
because yeah,
you're so good, Nate.
This was not planned. But I like to live by those four agreements because it's almost like the golden rule. It's almost better than the golden rule in a lot of ways, because not taking things personally is huge. Mm-hmm. And especially in this day and age, and now that Mars is in retrograde, Mercury is going in retrograde, there's issues with, Mars is a combative planet. So a lot of aggression, a lot of things coming up. And then you've got Mercury going into retrograde, more communication issues. And so those things on top of COVID and all that's happening, that's halting us from living our life as we know how to live it, is a problem for us. But you know what? I need to go to break. So when we come back, we're going to answer that question. Please stay tuned.
All right, great job. We're all clear.
Thank you. That was an interesting segue.
I liked it. Yeah. I laugh. I tell people this is as close to the Bible as we have in my office. Not to be anyway. So I have copies of this that I lend out to people constantly. Like, here, look at this. Tell me, and let's talk about when you come back.
It's brilliant. I think it's just absolutely brilliant, and it's so simple.
Susan, might be good to also talk about Dennis Adams.
Yeah, I'm waiting.
You guys are like such a great team. It's like one take, boom, 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 boom. It's wonderful. Oh, I'm enjoying it anyway.
Thank you.
Nate, I'm putting your bio together again because I tore it. Sorry. It's not personal.
No worries. I'll be back in 10 seconds. All right. I know.
Anyway.
Sorry, my mail just got here.
Okay. So where in Chicago are you, Nate?
I'm in the northwest suburbs, about probably 40 minutes northwest of Chicago. So
Which would be?
Palatine.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, I'm right by Woodfield Mall, which is a big landmark near here.
Isn't that oh my God, Schaumburg.
Yeah, well done. You get a point.
I am a Chicago girl.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Oh yeah, born and raised in the city.
Okay, yeah, so you know exactly where I'm at.
Yeah, and I'm coming out there, so maybe we need to talk.
Yeah.
How exciting is that?
Awesome.
Yeah, it'll be great. And I'm going back to Georgia in next Friday. So
Cool. You want to do? What am I doing?
I'm going up to McKaysville, so I don't think that's in the direction.
Oh, okay.
I think
I
you're
think
doing.
I'm doing continuing ed. I have to go to school.
I thought you were doing boundaries next weekend.
That too.
Oh,
I'm asking.
Well, and we need, yes, we need to put up where we find these classes because your website isn't up. So I don't know where to find the classes, Susan. Okay, I won't, you're going to have to talk about it and let people know where to find you, find the classes.
All right, we're just about to come back.
Thanks.
You are listening to Guided Spirit Conversations. To reach Marla Goldberg or her guest today, you're invited to call into the program at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. If you'd rather send an email, the address is guidedspiritconversations@gmail.com. Now, back to this week's program.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for sticking around. If you've just tuned in, I am so excited to have Dr. Nathan Gerowitz, a Chicago area chiropractor, with us. And Nathan has served on several service trips around the world. And in addition, he has founded a clean water not-for-profit, which I want to hear a little bit about. In addition, Nate serves families through gentle chiropractic care and is a worldwide trainer of chiropractors throughout the MLS seminars. And every time I hear MLS, I think of real estate. Dr. Nate heeds the deep calling to help people unconditionally love themselves through the Mayan shamanic healing practices or arts and the quickening, accelerated, conscious evolution, conscious awareness. I'm sorry, I tore it up. Quickening. What's the ACE mean?
Accelerated consciousness evolution.
Thank you. And facilitating healing in his practice. We also have Dr. Suzan Rossi. Love Dr. Suzan. She has been a chiropractor for 39 years. She's an ordained minister, a practitioner, a master of various Mayan shamanic healing arts. And additionally, she is the founder of the Quickening, ACE, a new paradigm healing system that facilitates our awakening, inner transformation, and personal evolution. Welcome back.
Thank you.
I think we're going on break again. And I took a long time for the intro, so I apologize. But before we left on break, I left you with a question. And we were talking about, I'm throwing it at you.
We were starting to talk about how, if we have any of these symptoms of awakening, how do we navigate this? Where do we go for help, and how do we help ourselves?
And how do you know that is every chiropractor able to help one with their awakening? Or because the chiropractors I've been going to in the past don't come at it that way. It's just basic, straighten out your alignment and send you off.
To be honest, every adjustment facilitates the awakening process, every adjustment. So it doesn't matter who we go to. That to be truthful, even the newest or the youngest of us, whatever we do for the spine facilitates well-being and awakening.
One thing that I'm fond of sharing with participants at the seminars I help facilitate is, if someone's on your table, if they're on our chiropractic tables, then they're meant to be there. We're the person in that moment. And
so, yeah, like you said, whoever the doctor that we go to is there to give you what you need.
Mhm.
So it's not an accident. If not everybody wants to come to me, it's hard work to wake up. So they want their bones adjusted. I can do that, but they can get that from anybody. If their soul is guiding them to me, then it's time to wake up.
That's
Same with me.
amazing.
So we're good.
And one of the many lessons that I learned from Suzan, I've been studying with her for 5-ish years at this point, is our awakening journey can be safe, it can be gentle, it can be easy. There are a lot of traditions from a lot of different cultures and religions and spiritual teachings that to wake up has to be suffering. It has to be traumatic and dramatic, and it has to be a royal pain. And we're here to tell you that is an old paradigm. come play with us in a new paradigm where it can be safe, gentle, and easy.
I
Possible.
love that.
Yes.
Because when I was going through my awakening, it was, I mean, we were doing these physical meditations, and it was just people were screaming and hollering to release. And I am an advocate of release. I have to share. I mean, I take my bat, I go to a mattress sometimes just to get stuff up, because you just need to do some house cleaning. And I'm talking about the emotions you repress.
Yeah.
So that's one of my favorite things. And you see my screen pillow right behind me, so that you need to get that out. You need to scream, but muffle it so you don't make anybody afraid that someone's killing you. There's no crying wolf there. But I want to go into spiritual emergence. You say it's emergency, spiritual. So what is that? So let's explain that.
That's when, how do I navigate it? Depending on how we've been raised, what paradigm or matrix our foundation of concepts and belief systems are, what we believe to be true. So if we don't believe in God, if we do not believe in angels, if we don't believe in higher self, or that we are extensions of the divine, that we are actually children of the prime creator, that we have parts that are eternal, if we don't believe that, and we start the awakening process, it can make us feel we are absolutely out of our minds. If we don't have a foundation that there are dimensional, I like to call them parasites, that if we think that we're alone, and when we wake up and all of a sudden there is this world of darkness and light and consciousness and things off planet, in planet, dimensional. I remember the past, I remember the future, I remember parallel universes. My cells start talking to me. Oh my God, that rock's talking to me. You mean that tree's alive? Oh my God, that thought. I just had that thought 10 years ago. It's still hanging there in the air. If all of a sudden we wake up to all of that, it'll make us feel like we're out of body, out of mind, we're crazy. So, or like these symptoms I'm describing, we think we're sick. We think we have a neurological disease, like it's MS or multiple sclerosis or dementia or something, and it's awakening. So when we go to our churches, we don't have what we need. If we go to the counselor, we might not have what we need. If you go to the MD and they're giving us Prozac, Zoloft, and they're giving us numbing drugs or migraine drugs or period drugs or fertility drugs, and it's not addressing the original cause. So there's an emergency of emotional, mental, and physical things that are happening. It's not uncommon for me to have, especially my chiropractic student, they're already a little bit on the rebel, sensitive service side. And many of them are very, very, very psychic. And they've been raised in families that do not understand this, don't understand that they're prophetic, that they're seeing the future, that they can tell when you're lying to them, when they can feel your pain and they think it's theirs. So there is a boundaries that needs to be taught. There's an understanding of the multidimensionality that needs to be taught, so that our awakening is normal and not a curse, or that I'm insane, or that I'm evil.
Well, you teach a class, and I know this because I attended, about boundaries.
Yes.
And it was a powerful, powerful class. Can you talk a little bit about that class? And Nate, are you part of teaching that class too?
He does it too. So Nate, why don't you,
Sure.
From your perspective, because he has been a student and now he's a practitioner of it and does it himself. So tell it from your perspective.
Sure. A little bit of background. I met Suzan because one day I was adjusting someone. I was still in school, and after I adjusted them, I felt like I had the exact same pattern. It went from them to me. It was very strange. At the time, I had enough strategies built up in my nervous system that I could move it through and clear it, but it was very weird. And I'd heard of it happening before. I never experienced it. Later that evening, I was sitting with a couple of friends, and they said, hey, I described this to them, and they said, one of them, Emily, said, my peak doctor, the doctor I'm doing my internship with, is doing a boundaries class on Sunday night. You need to be there. And the other two, Emily Mayo and Jamie Milshanowski, were like going like this, we're going. So I showed up, and I met
You
Suzan.
met me at a boundaries class?
Weird, right? Explains a lot, doesn't it? And I walk in and I meet Suzan, and I felt at the same time I felt very intimidated and so loved all at the same time. And as anyone who's met Suzan might be able to attest. And so I sit there for the boundaries class, and it very much felt like it felt awakening to me. It was so many things that I had thought about or conceptualized it was one thing after another that was just such vital information that it was so empowering. And then at the end of the class, we typically do a version of energetic hygiene, where we deal with energetic parasites. And I remember sitting there thinking right before we do the first one, I'm not entirely sure I believe in this, but the rest of the class has been great. I might as well hang around. Seems like it's not like it's going to hurt anything. And I felt the difference after each successive protocol that we put in place. And I remember just sitting there going, it was if you've ever seen the movie Doctor Strange, which is a Marvel movie, there's a scene at the beginning where the Ancient One, which is the teacher, punches Doctor Strange through the dimensions. He sees the multiverse, the multidimensionality of it all. He lands back in his body and he's just like, teach me. And that was my experience. I remember when that movie came out laughing. Like, I know those feels, bro.
We both laughed about it. I love that movie.
So the boundaries class, we cover energetic anatomy. We cover sacred geometry of boundaries. We cover how to be grounded, how to be sourced, how to ground and source other things.
The sacred, secret, esoteric information about how to do all that.
And then we cover interpersonal boundaries, how to say yes when you mean yes, how to say no when you mean no, how to be able to hear both of those things and be grateful for whatever that answer is.
So I actually do a sex class on boundaries.
Right. It is our best answer to help people be able to say yes or no in an authentic, non-aggressive way. And then we do a little bit of psychic boundaries. So that way, if you've ever gone to the mall or a baseball game or a school and you come home and you're exhausted, it's because you are feeling or perceiving or intuiting or seeing.
Or sucking up other people's energies.
Right.
That's the right word, suck. And there's an overwhelming crash that happens. Go ahead, Nate.
For me, one of my primary ways of perception is being very intuitive. Before I met Suzan, I just thought I was thinking faster than everyone. No, I was thinking all of their thoughts with them. Whereas now I can go into an airport, walk through it, and be totally calm, totally at peace, not feel or sense the trauma, the stress that people are walking around with. This class, I think, is vital to be definitely to be a healer or to be a source worker on this planet. I think it's vital to be human, period. It's basic skills and basic teachings that I don't see taught with this level of efficacy anywhere else. If I do say so myself, I realize I'm talking in a class I now teach. So,
in fact, one of your students has called it Human 101, right?
Right. Yeah. She called it Human 101, and I really love that name.
I love that. That's great. So where do they find this class to sign up for it?
Well,
you have a website?
I have a website. I have an update. My website is innatelifechiro.com. And if you want, Marla, I'll send you the link so you can find the page with the upcoming classes. I know Perfect. I'm going to do a boundaries class online, probably in November. Actually, Suzan and I are planning on co-teaching it, which will be a lot of fun. The other great option to find out a lot of these classes, as Suzan is in the process of building a magnificent website. If you are on Facebook, which at least some of you may be watching this on Facebook, there is a group for her philosophy night that she does every Tuesday night. She started it because a lot of us chiropractic students were in trouble, and so her response was, I have an answer. And she's covered any number of topics, from children to sex to money to cash to what color do I paint the walls of my office to intuition. And on there, we will post things. The Facebook group that you can request to be a part of is called Chicken Soup for the Chiropractic Soul. It is for anyone. That's just the loving nickname we gave it. And that's, in the meantime, that's where we're posting a lot of things. And there's links, I believe, on there to actually sign up for her newsletter too. So that way, when she sends it out, you can get responses, because there's a lot of wonderful classes that she teaches that I highly recommend.
So, and you've got one coming up this weekend or next weekend?
Me?
Yeah, there's a class coming. I heard somebody say something about a class coming up.
I actually have to do continuing ed. I have to take class.
Oh, you have to take the class. Okay.
I every month and every other week I have things that I do teach. The website that I'm in the process of creating, I want to say I'm antiquated. I'm just trying to catch up with the it's actually the responsibility and the power of creating a physical place where people can find me. I've been working on the infrastructure to hold the energy for what the physical creation is, if that makes sense. And I've just completed it. Spirit gave me the thumbs up 2-3 days ago that I can actually start filling in the blanks and launching it really soon. It will be Dr. Ross, it will be DrSuzan.com, DrSuzan.com. That's the name of it. The easiest way to get to me, other than that philosophy night, Chicken Soup for the Chiropractic Soul, is my email right now. And that's dr.SuzanRossi@gmail.com.
Perfect.
And you can say that they heard from us, from Marla, and please add them to my email list. And then very soon I'll have a real website that can hold the energy, the dimensional energy that I want it to hold.
A lot of the classes that Susan and I both do, in addition to the boundaries class, which is one of my personal favorites, we do transmutation classes where we go through and we actually rewrite the concepts, belief systems, and thought forms that we carry around that mostly aren't from ourselves or from this current lifetime. And we rewrite them. And we've done them on, the most popular one is always cash and money. People love transmuting that because we've got a lot of issues on that. But we've done,
Yes, we do.
we both have done them on a lot of different subjects. And
My truth is, what we believe to be true is the reality that we create. It's 101 quantum physics. So if I believe that I'm evil, then I am evil. And that's not the truth. That's the power of being human. So the Mayans teach that as above, so below, as within, so without. It's the universal law of the qualities, and it's a corresponding principle. So what I believe to be true about myself within, I'm going to demonstrate it from without. If I see war happening anywhere, if I'm watching the news, then I'm having a correspondent war within. The second principle is concepts and belief systems create our reality. The third is I'm 100% responsible for my reality. So when we add our creative life force energy to those three concepts, all of a sudden we're not victims anymore and we stop being predators. So it takes us off the triangle and it makes us responsible. Dennis Adams is a teacher of mine. He also taught, as part of that helps us with the awakening process, is not to take things personally, which goes back to the 4 agreements. Don't take things personally. That means putting something on that you used to wear 10 years ago or in a last lifetime. Do not judge. Use discernment. Judgment is having a thought with emotional body on it. So I'm judging something right or wrong. And the minute I do that, it throws me out of present time, which is the third concept. You have to stay in present time. So I had a friend of mine, we went and saw the Dalai Lama. Yes.
I'm sorry to do this, but we're going to have to take
No
a
worries.
break. Hang on. We'll talk about the Dalai Lama when we come back.
Okay.
Stay tuned.
All right, nicely done. We're all clear. Back up.
Thank you. Okay, good. So how are you feeling with everything? Are we getting all the information out?
Yeah.
Good.
Yep. All good.
Good. Oh, this is
How are
good.
you feeling about it? Are you?
I feel great.
Okay, good.
Marla's getting high on this, I think.
Because she's
Well,
pinking up as we talk.
Yeah.
I'm doing what as we talk?
You're pinking.
Oh,
You're more in body and you're warming up. Your
well,
soul coming in.
you know, I've talked to you about your classes. I didn't even know about this chicken soup for the chiropractic soul site. You've never told me about it. So
You know, I have to be really honest. I'll turn to a student. What do I have next? And my students start telling the dates, the times, and when and where to get it.
She outsources.
I go, what am I doing? And my daughter goes, da 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 da, or Nate goes, da 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 da, or I'm looking at the group, I'm being recorded. I go, when's the next class? And they go, it's tomorrow. Oh, that's right. I'm doing a class tomorrow.
There was one time during one of her philosophy nights recently that one of her current apprentices texted me. She's like, Susan's trying to figure out the name for something. Who was it or what is it? And I'm like, I'm not even there.
I mean,
but you knew, I bet.
I did.
I'm so in present time that I just give up trying to remember. My daughter every morning texts me and reminds me of what I have to do. You have a 12 o'clock with Marla today and Nate. I go, yes, thank you. I've done terrible mistakes of forgetting. So
I write it down. Everything gets written down. And if I don't write it down, it goes out. So
it doesn't matter if I wrote it down. I have literally written in my own appointment book in bright pink Highlander that I'm going to be in Texas teaching quickening to practitioners. And then I wrote in pen on top of that, without seeing it, a man that was dying of cancer of kidneys. He was driving 8 hours to come see me. I wrote it on top of it, did not see it. I did not see it. And I come home from that seminar and I have a new roommate and he goes, yeah, so-and-so for his appointment and you weren't here.
Oh my.
That's the worst I've ever done. Worst.
The wall behind me is where I adjust people. If I'm in there and they ask me like, when's my next appointment? I'm like, I don't know. That's why I write it down. I'm gonna guess Tuesday.
So
sorry to interrupt, but we're coming back in about 10 seconds here.
Perfect. Thanks.
You. You are listening to Guided Spirit Conversations. To reach Marla Goldberg or her guest today, you're invited to call into the program at 1-888-346-9141. That's 1-888-346-9141. If you'd rather send an email, the address is guidedspiritconversations@gmail.com. Now, back to this week's program.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for sticking around. Or if you've just tuned in, I'm with Dr. Suzan Rossi and Dr. Nathan Gerowitz, and we are talking chiropractic and spirituality and how it works together, as well as Dr. Suzan has founded the Quickening, which is the Accelerated Conscious Evolution healing class. And so that's what we were talking about when we went off. But before I bring them back for conversation, it's charity shout out time. So we have chosen a charity. I shouldn't say we, they have chosen a charity that they want to talk about, which is the International Chiropractic Pediatrics Association, or ICPA for kids. 4 is the number, KIDS.com. So who'd like to talk about this charity and what it does for everybody and why you're behind it?
Nate, go for it.
Nate.
I guess I would like to talk about it. This is an organization that I'm a part of, Susan's a part of, and actually Susan's former husband teaches for. And this organization is all about helping families around the world connect to chiropractors who can help their kids. They have a number of different programs to teach advanced chiropractic techniques specifically for children. And they do a lot, and they also do research about the wonderful benefits of chiropractic for kids, because it has been vastly underutilized and misunderstood for decades, especially for kids. And so it's something that Susan and I are both incredibly supportive of and love to try and help as often as we can, because we see that so many kids coming into our practices are of such a unique consciousness just coming into body. And chiropractic is the best thing we've found to help them interface with the world in a loving, joyful way.
Well said, Nate.
That is great. Thank you. So again, if you're interested in supporting or learning more about this organization, International Chiropractic Pediatrics Association, check out the website at https://ICPA which is the number 4 kids. So ICPA4kids.com.
They also have on there a link that you can look through their directory and find a chiropractor who's a part of it if you're interested.
Oh, that's great, because kids need, first of all, kids with activity, but even kids with non-activity with what's going on in COVID. It's like your car, right? You need to maintain your car if you drive it, but you also need to maintain your car if you let it sit there, because things will start breaking down. And
Well said, Marla. We're
Thank
going to
you.
use you as a
Yeah, we're done. Just keep going.
Well, I mean, we all need it, and let's face facts. Many of us have sort of like chucked, even trying to take walks or do something. Nope, I can't go out, and they just they've taken their life and pulled it in because we've been told to, but there's still things that can be done that aren't being done, because we all get caught up in whether it's TV, computer, reading, whatever it might be.
I see a lot of people coming into my practice these days, and everyone has been playing defense for 6 months, and especially the new people coming in want to be able to play offense again. So part of the paradigm that Suzan and I both come from is, how do you do things to create a healthier future rather than just try and fight an unhealthy future? And by changing that question, the questions we ask have really big importance, and they help us shape and frame our reality. And so if it's, what can I do to help myself go a little bit up the spectrum of health today? It's an important question, and I'm sure Suzan would agree. More and more people are looking for some way to be proactive or go on offense.
But on a multidimensional level, when a newborn is born, its field is juvenile, it's infantile, just like its little body is. So what that means, if I was to look from one view of study, we have the physical body, then we have the etheric body, which is the blueprint. Then we have the emotional body, we have a mental body, we have an ego body, we have a soul body, and then we have subtle bodies, 4 or 5 subtle bodies. This field on a physical, the finite part, which is everything from the ego down, is what, when we lay our bodies down, it doesn't go on. The spirit bodies are the infinite part. So the finite part is juvenile. It's not developed. Like their minds are not developed, their emotions aren't developed. Well, the whole subtle body is not developed. So when they come from a woman's womb and they come out of the body, they need to stay inside their mother's field. If they go outside their mother's field, they panic and they think that their mother creator has abandoned them, and it sets them up for the concepts and belief systems. You cannot trust God, and they scream and fuss, and we think they're being spoiled. The mother is stressed because she needs to go to the bathroom, she needs to take a shower, but her field is too small and the baby doesn't feel its energetic womb. So part of what we do chiropractically is help facilitate that, nurture and help develop that new baby body, energetic parts of itself. And because we don't understand that a baby is infantile, so is its field, we don't realize the shock and the trauma that the child goes through. And that this understanding, that's why it's important. Spirit was pressing me to make sure I explained to you that that's why it's so important to hang your baby on you, sleep with your baby, touch your baby. Don't let the baby cry and go to sleep. The consequence that I find in adults from a child that was forced to go to sleep by itself and scream is these terrible abandonment issues and shutting down, and they don't want to be touched, and they don't trust God. They have low self-esteem just by making a baby cry itself to sleep. There's a rawness to their field and trauma that both on a physical level, chiropractic helps, but just having awareness will transmute. So rather than a mother being guilty that she accidentally abandoned her baby, there are ways of fixing it, all of it. Dimensionally, it all can be transmuted. We just need to know.
I think that's such a powerful piece of information to
Yes,
give pregnant women, new mothers. So
absolutely.
let's say you don't know this, but your child, I guess, there a point where the effect. So I guess what I'm trying to ask is, it's not a newborn anymore. It might be 1 or 2 years old or 3 years old, and now you're hearing this information for the first time. Is there a way that a mother can bring the child back into its energetic field to sort of adjust the abandonment issues?
The important part to realize is their finite part of their subtle body is still infantile. It still needs to be inside the mother's field. So one of the magics that I do, it's part of the high magics of the dimensions. It's very high dimensions. It's in the 80s and 90s. Is the mother can create an avatar. It's like a replication, duplication of self, except for the physical body's not in it. So I'm going to demonstrate it right now.
Okay.
Those that are interested, I'm gifting them. So I'm holding, and Nate will help me.
We only have a short period of time.
Yeah. I'm holding a replication, duplication of self. And then I do that if I'm the mother, and I do the same thing with the father. And then I make a blend. I make an energetic avatar, and I put it over the baby. So baby is always with mother, father.
So an energetic overlay.
Exactly. And I'm not living in it. It's not like I'm stretching myself. I made a duplication, replication of myself energetically, and I put it around the baby. And all of a sudden, mama's always with the baby.
How perfect. That is such a perfect thing to do, and such a perfect way to close the show.
Right.
I want to thank you, Dr. Suzan Rossi, and you can reach Dr. Suzan Rossi. Her email is dr.suzanrossi@gmail.com. And Nate Gerowitz, Dr. Nate Gerowitz, who's out of my old hometown, Chicago. And his email is innate, which I love, life Chiro. So INNATELIFECHIRO @gmail.com. And you can check out his website at innatelifechiro, just like the email address.com. So I want to thank you both for being on. This was such a great conversation. We're going to have to do it again because I still haven't gotten into shadow processing and thoughts that we create and how they matter. And there's just so much meaty information. So I'll be bringing you guys back as a team because I love the way you work together and your energy, how it just ebbs and flows. So thank you. I want to thank everyone at Voice America for everything they do to get the show up and running and get us sounding good. I want to thank Bridget, my assistant. She is my left hand and right hand. I'm so grateful for her. And I want to thank you, the audience, for taking the time to watch the show, to listen to the show, whichever way you're doing it, because I'm hoping that the information that we bring you helps you somehow in your life's trajectory. And don't forget the classes by Dr. Suzan and Dr. Nate, because I've taken some of them and they are powerful. They are truly powerful. And if you're really looking for some change in your life, a shift, this is one of the ways to go. So please check them out. The other thing I'm going to leave you with, two things. First of all, the Global Consciousness Development Circle is having its bi-monthly meditation on Saturday, the 26th at 9 a.m. Eastern time. And if you go on my Facebook page, if you go on Facebook and go to the Global Consciousness Development Circle page, you will see the link and you can get on and start your Saturday with an amazing meditation. And we have a guest, I'm with Dr. Patty Jones Tate will be our guest meditator, and she's going to lead us on an amazing journey. So I invite you to join us there. And then the last thing I'm going to close with is please, I ask, that you be socially considerate of others. You don't know what anybody's walking around with. And even though you might say, I'm okay, you don't really know. So wearing a mask is just a courtesy you give yourself and you give someone else. So I leave you with that. And I also leave you with sending you all love, blessings, and gratitude. Till next week. Stay well.